What are the offenses one should avoid in the Dham? Now, I've printed them out. I'll read them. The first is to have contempt or disrespect towards the Guru who reveals the holy Dham. Now, we always have to remember that we were born in the darkness of ignorance. We knew nothing about Vrindavan. Even if one is born here, you still have to learn about the potency of the holy Dham from your Guru. I remember my daughter was born here, and she grew up here. And when she was about 13 years old, although her whole life she had grown up here, no sinful activities, always hearing the holy name, always engaged in devotional service, she realized that unless she accepts a guru who instructs her, gives her lifetime instructions how to advance further, she wouldn't be able to make any progress. So if one wants to advance in spiritual life, one requires a guru who's ahead of you on the path and can show you that path, how to advance further in Krishna consciousness while living in the holy Dham. The second is to think that the holy Dham is temporary. Now this Dham, in the Kali Yuga, Prabhupada compares it to a golden ring. Gold is always gold, but when it becomes tarnished, you sometimes can't recognize that it's gold. So now, in this, under the influence of Kali Yuga, the Dham is covered as if being tarnished by sewage, by so much construction, by the coverings that cause us to believe that the Dham is disintegrating. Hare, in his book Vrindavan Days, he asked Prabhupada, how is it that Vrindavan looks like it's so depreciated? And Prabhupada, he just quipped back at him that how can you say that it's decaying when even the bugs and the animals and the monkeys and anyone who lives here, anyone who dies here, they get liberation. So with our mundane vision, we might see that there's dirt, there's unscrupulous activities going on, but the potency of the Dham is always there, and we can always get the spiritual benefit of rendering service in the Dham. You get 1,000 times the benefit of doing service in the Dham. Number 3 is to commit violence towards any of the residents of the holy Dham, or to any of the pilgrims who come here, or to think that they are ordinary, mundane people. Now, Prabhupada describes in the Bhagavad Gita what real violence is. To be non-violent means that you're helping others become Krishna conscious. So to be violent means that you're not helping others to become Krishna conscious. So in our activities, even while we're here in the Dham, we shouldn't be selfish, just trying to get as much benefit as we can, all the labh we can for ourselves so we can become this or that in the spiritual world. No, our duty as servants of Srila Prabhupada is to engage in non-violent activities of helping anyone who we come in contact with become Krishna conscious. And we should see the pilgrims who come here as very great souls. They're not ordinary people. Anyone who gets to come to Vrindavan, if you go outside of Vrindavan, even as far as Faridabad, which is just like 60 kilometers away, there are thousands of people who have never come to Vrindavan. They haven't had that, if it's punya or sukriti, whatever it is. They might live on the periphery, but Krishna has never allowed them to enter the Dham. So anyone who Krishna gives the open door to by the mercy of Vrinda Devi, they're very special, and we should see them as such and welcome them and try to serve them. Number 4 is to perform mundane activities while living in the holy Dham. Well, mundane activities, of course, we know that you can have so many zeros, and if you add the one, then things become valuable. So whatever we do, if it's eating, sleeping, mating, defending, we just add Krishna, and then they're not mundane activities anymore. We all have to eat, we all have to sleep, but we can eat prasadam, we can dream of Krishna, and in that way, they're not mundane activities, it becomes spiritual activities. 5. Earning money by and making a business of deity worship and chanting the holy name. Now this we have to be very careful. That's why it's very important that we're connected to the temple, that we're serving in the temple. We're not trying to be independent so that we have to engage in business to maintain ourselves. Sometimes devotees leave the temple and they become pracharaks and kirtaniyas and pujaris, mostly just so they can make some money to maintain themselves or their family. But if you stay connected to the temple, Krishna will naturally support you and take care of you so long as you're of some value. So be of some value to the temple, engage in service. There's unlimited service, and in that way you'll avoid that 5th offense. Number 6 is to think that the holy Dham belongs to some mundane country or provinces, such as Bengal, or to think that the Dham of the Lord is equal to a holy place connected with some demigod, or to attempt to measure the area of the Dham. So the Dham can appear anywhere, just like wherever Prabhupada went. It's non-different from Vrindavan. When he was asked different questions, he would say, I'm always in Vrindavan. So it's a matter of consciousness where Vrindavan appears. We can be in Vrindavan and be thinking of some other place, and the mind will take us there. So we have to understand that Vrindavan is our consciousness. We have to have Vrindavan consciousness, and that means always meditating on the Supreme Lord and His transcendental pastimes. And if we're not that advanced, chant Hare Krishna, and those pastimes will manifest naturally. 7. To commit sinful activities while in the Dham. Well, this is the most dangerous. We've met devotees who sadly believe that because of the potency of the holy Dham, they can engage in sinful activities. We know what the 4 sinful activities are, and we have to strictly avoid those activities, even in thought, because thinking, feeling, and willing. So to commit sinful activities grossly, that we might have some control over, but we have to control our mind, and that mind control is done by chanting the holy name. If you're having trouble controlling the mind while you're here, I feel very sorry for the brahmacharis during festival time, things like that. They must have a real rough time. You just increase your chanting, sit in the kirtan party, engage in extra service, and try to control your mind so that it doesn't go to the process of thinking, feeling, and willing, and then eventually falling down and committing sinful activities here, because you can destroy your spiritual creeper if you commit sinful activities here. Those sinful activities are no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex. 8. To consider Vrindavan and Navadvip different. Now the Lord's pastimes go on simultaneously in both places. If you study Prabhupada's books, Lord Chaitanya's pastimes in Jagannath Puri, you'll understand that all of the associates of Lord Chaitanya are the original associates that Krishna had in the Dham. So he's simultaneously associating and performing his Gaura Leela and Krishna Leela at the same time. So there's no difference. All those same people are there, all the same activities are going on, just externally it appears to be different. 9. To blaspheme the Shastras which glorify the holy Dham. That's like cutting your own throat, because these scriptures that have been given to us by Prabhupada, the original Sanskrit, the original Bengali is there. If you're finding some fault in the translation, in the editing, whatever it is, then take the trouble, learn the Sanskrit, learn the Bengali, and you'll find out exactly what's going on. A lot of times devotees are just lazy. They don't want to take the time. And the reason Prabhupada gave us these word-for-word translations, transliterations, is so we can learn. And this Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Bengali, is sweet. It's very simple Bengali. The Sanskrit in Srimad Bhagavatam is so poetic. Take the trouble. Look at all the trouble Prabhupada took to give us the word-for-word translations. So if you don't like something, go to the original, study it yourself, and try to get the essence of what those shastras are saying. Don't criticize. Hare Krishna. Number 10. To be faithless and to think that the glories of the Dham are imaginary. We're all seeking love, and this is the abode of eternal love where Radha and Krishna's pastimes are going on. If we're so foolish that we can't recognize that the Lord has His own private place, this is His home, this is where all of His friends and family and girlfriends and animals live, and they're all engaged in loving pastimes, if we're so blind, if we're so foolish, then naturally that's offensive. We should enter the Dham in a very respectful, humble attitude, that Krishna is allowing me to step my sinful self into His personal abode. And please, Krishna, let me be of some service to you while I'm here. Okay?